I've heard from some people that the first Halo game has not aged very well. I've also heard from more people that Halo 1 was a masterpiece and one of their favorite single-player shooters. After playing it for myself for the first time in probably 12 plus years, I thought the game was just not very good. The game frustrated me to no end and almost put me to sleep. I was almost ready to scrap the whole franchise, but I decided to check out the second game in hopes that it was an improvement. This game had a lot riding on it because I was ready to dismiss the Chief altogether. So, did I enjoy it? Well, just like last time, let me talk about the unimportant stuff first. Despite the fact that a game like this doesn't really need a story, this one was actually perfectly fine. Nothing to write home about, but at least I was using at least a little bit of brain power, unlike the first game, which could be summarized by reading the back of that Mountain Dew box. In the remake, which is the one that I played, the story was told in these Sci-Fi Channel original movie style cutscenes, which looked okay. They were a bit jarring, especially if you look at how they were in the old game. As a side note, I love when these one-to-one graphical remakes have an option that lets you change back and forth between the old and new graphics with a push of a button. More games should do this. And besides the story, the music was good and the game looks nice. Okay, now for the gameplay. The only thing that really matters. And just like the last game, it controls and plays without any real hiccups. Vehicles are still a little wonky, but for an OG Xbox game, it holds up really nice. As I was playing through this game, I was ready to be tricked all over again, just like with the first game. By the time I got to around level 4, I was enjoying myself, and I was ready for the rug to be pulled right under me and the levels to start becoming the shitty, repetitive grind that strangled all the enjoyment I had with the first game. But to my surprise, that never happened. The level design in this game is leaps and bounds better than the first one. Every single level had different set pieces and locales, and it didn't reuse level assets at all. I was actually pretty shocked. I thought the level design was going to be improved, but not by this much. The first game basically had two levels, these open, natural areas, and these shitty repeating corridors. This game has outer space sections, parts where you're in Brooklyn with a big ass tank, you fly a Banshee around in the sky while listening to some 2000s alt rock. The gameplay variety was great.
I'm as close to the library as I can get. There's some sort of barrier. We're trying to find a way around it.
Uh-oh. But no, even the library level in this game is unique. And with that, my biggest issue with the first game has been solved. The levels are actually fun.
If it's not fun, why bother?
So, the levels are well made this time, but that's not all there is when discussing the gameplay. And since this review is already on a very positive note, let me bring it down a little with some negatives. And honestly, most of the issues I had revolve around one thing. Master Chief himself. He starts off similar to the last game. You're calibrating your suit with Sergeant Johnson.
Your new armor shields are extremely resilient, very efficient. Bingo! As you can see, they recharge a lot faster.
Oh yeah? You upgraded my shield? Well thanks, but I think you forgot something, dickhead. What did you do to my health? Yes, there's no health in this game. You just have an energy shield, and once that is gone, you can take one or two more hits before you're dead. And because of this, for being a super soldier, Master Chief is just a little bitch. He can barely be in gunfire for more than 2 seconds before he has to hide and cover and let his shield recharge. If you're playing this on heroic or higher, you're going to be spending a lot of this game in the corner. He's not very strong either, Anything that isn't a grunt or jackal takes forever to kill. Look at this guy. It took me 4 swings of my energy sword to kill him. How many does it take to kill me? 1. Because of this, I spent most of the game trying to interact with as few enemies as possible. I was finding that exploiting the enemies and trying to cheese your way out of it was the optimal way to play this game. This makes the sections when you play as the Arbiter feel much easier because he has an invis power. Oh, and what does Master Chief get instead of an invis, you ask? A flashlight. I wish the 2 characters had more uniqueness in their strengths. The Arbiter could be the stealthy one that's more fragile, while the Chief could be the tank that can take more hits and do more damage. But no, as they stand, the only difference is that the Arbiter can go invis. I also have an issue with how the enemy encounters are handled. There are way more enemy types in this game, and some of the returning ones have been given some unique characteristics. Like the jackals, they do a lot of sniping when they don't have their shields up. And those tiny zombies that just ran at you in the last game, they actually reanimate the corpses on the ground, turning them into flood if you don't finish them off. There are even some bosses this time. These additions are great and add a lot of freshness to each level. What I don't like is how they are presented to you. There are so many times that I would just walk down a hallway, take a right turn, and there'd be 10 guys standing there and would kill me instantly. This happened more and more as the game went on and was testing my patience. There's this one part where the brutes and elites are fighting each other in this big arena, and Cortana makes a suggestion that
you might consider sitting this one out.
I was thinking, great, good idea. Let's have the brutes and elites thin their numbers. This section took about an hour to finish. This room had 3 hunters and like 10 white elites with either snipers or rocket launchers. The brute army that they were supposed to fight was like 4 dudes, leaving me to fight everyone else by myself. Honestly, the only way I was even able to beat this part was to just get lucky and trial and error over and over and over and over. This game just makes you feel so powerless. On one hand, I can respect that. In a world of AAA shooters that take 0 risks, it's actually refreshing to get your ass kicked once in a while. But the way that the challenge is handled in this game often just made me frustrated. Even though I had a lot of criticism with this game, it was still a huge improvement over the first one. The amount of gameplay variety and interesting set pieces made this a game that I was happy to play, instead of one that I could only play for 1 chapter a day. Because of this, I'm giving Halo 2 a solid 7 out of 10.